Real Randy Chavez. This is going to be super exciting. I am pumped. I am pumped. So look, I have a link to his YouTube channel in the description right now in the chat. It's pinned. Go over there for whatever reason. If you're not subscribed, go and subscribe, but you probably are already. But if you're not, there it is. And by the end of this video, we're going to go ahead and discover who is the real Randy Chavez. I'm Veve. Who is he? What is he all about? If you like free stuff, subscribe. If you like all this cool stuff, all this cool content, like. And so we're here with the real Randy Chavez. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I streamed this morning and we talked about good stuff. And then I was on the Voices of Veve, Wendy Stabalis' stream with Reese was on there and a whole bunch of people were on there. And this is the main event tonight.
That's right.
Get the spread.
You know what? You know, it would be awesome if that's the goal. I would love to interview just everybody within the Veve family, just because I feel that Strange and I and Fast Eddie P, when we're here having our interviews, it's a little different. It's a different angle. We don't only talk Veve, we talk life, we talk, you know, just everything. So all right, so just getting right into it.
I'm assuming Peru. I was adopted, so I almost didn't get into the military because I didn't have a birth certificate.
Oh,
like the guy that was there is like, all right, I just need like a birth certificate, and I was like, I don't have that, sir. And he's like, well, your mom's got it. Ask her. I was like, sir, I don't think she does. And then he's like, no, she has it. Like he was so like, and he wasn't somebody that had like never left America. He was in the Air Force like 20 years at that point. I was like, yeah, in Peru, there's no record keeping. But my mom is definitely like 100% Peruvian. She is like short. She was like 4'8" or 5'1", something like that.
mm-hmm.
I don't know what my dad was. But I'm tall. Like apparently most people down there are like 5'4", 5'6", or whatever, and I'm like 5'9". That might be because of nutrition in the U.S., but yeah, grandparents, I have zero idea. So I'm sorry. That first question is done.
All right, okay, but you're in Peru.
Yeah.
You're, okay, and so you were born where, over there, or over here?
Yeah, in Arequipa.
Okay. At what age did you leave?
So I don't 100% know. Best estimate is like 6 months, or like between 6 months and a year. But part of the reason I don't know is because when they were the people that were adopting me, they had this weird issue with the judge was drunk and was unable to sign the things in time. So they says, oh, actually, now that he didn't do that, you cannot be adopted, or this kid cannot be adopted because it's past the X amount of month time. So they had to change my birth date from December 15th and basically cross it out and scribble it out and write December 22nd.
No way.
So like everything says like December 22nd, like on my official documents, but it was really the 15th that I was born of December. So I was like, well.
Wow, that's very interesting. Crazy
stuff goes down in third world countries. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my wife's family is from Dominican Republic, and she has, you know, a lot of family still over there, and you know, I've heard like things just work differently.
Yeah,
for sure. So you went to New York, I'm assuming?
Yes. Yeah, okay. So it was in like Lynbrook, and then a place called Levittown. I spent pretty much most of my life in Levittown, and then it's on Long Island. And then I just went to the military afterwards. Then I kind of bounced around. Like I don't think I've only been. There was one place that I was for a year or more. Everywhere else I had moved. Like I'd moved up whole like 20 something times over the last 10 years.
How do you like that?
It's interesting. It keeps me. Apparently, as you get older, it's harder to move, but it just keeps interesting. Like, hey, where am I going? Where am I off to next? You know, and I feel like, hey, I've been there before, or somebody says, so I feel like well traveled, even though like a lot of it's been in the same like state, but I feel like because I've been in other places.
Very dope, very dope. I almost went into the military. but that was what intrigued me about the military was, traveling. I've always been into traveling. So, but even after the fact, I've never stayed in one house for more than 3 years, I would say. So I've moved a lot in my life too. So
same here, man. Pretty much on the go, man. Especially, I was pretty stable as a kid. I grew up out here in LA, had family in the city though. But once my parents passed, man, it was all bets was off, man. You know what I'm saying? I was all over the place, and that's how I started moving around out of state. And then when I moved back to New York, I was just like, do I get an actual apartment? Like Long Island's kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Like it's either an apartment, or you're renting a room, or
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of doing the room thing because I went from having like a full, I got the kitchen, the living room. I got when I'm paying like thousands of dollars, like paying someone's mortgage. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not adding up. Like, so I'm like, I don't even need all that. I'm like, just give me a room, man, whatever.
yeah, absolutely.
Man, but I actually lived with a Peruvian family for like 5 years, man. So it's funny you said that,
How were they? Like, what were they like?
Oh man, very quiet, you know what I'm saying? Humble people, you know what I'm saying? Very family oriented. I was cool with two brothers, you know what I'm saying? Became best friends. One of them passed away like 2 years ago, actually. But the family was mad cool, took me in like, you know what I mean? Like took care of me. I got to get familiar with a lot of Peruvian dishes, if they didn't have pork in it. I don't eat pork.
Okay.
But yeah, man, very cool.
I'm always curious about that because I've maybe spent less than a day total with any other Peruvians. Like I worked with one girl named Whitney once. She was part Peruvian, and there was like one guy when I was like a chimney sweeper or like assistant. He was Peruvian, but outside of that, like I've had a couple of interactions with them. So I'm always really curious to see how. And other people's like, oh yeah, I could tell you were Peruvian from like the second I looked at you. It was like, really? I don't know. Like, is that racist? I don't know. But yeah.
So okay, so growing up, what toys were you into?
Toys. I actually really liked cars when I was super younger, like Hot Wheels, and I don't know what this was. This really like core memory that you're unlocking here. It was like this maybe 3 feet by 2 feet thing, and you had like this monster truck, and I would just like, it wasn't motorized or anything. I was just like pretending and playing. It's like, oh, this is and I think my parents definitely thought I was weird because I was like, I had this game called Superstar Soccer 64 or International Superstar Soccer. It was on the N64, and there was a British guy who was announcing it because it's like European football. So I'd be like, Norway has got away with a blatant foul. Like he would always like be really.
I think I played that too.
So I would be like, oh my, I would scream in this like British accent, and I'm like, oh my God, and the truck is rolling over, the people are dead, everything's on fire. And I know my parents thought like, we got the broken. This is why we got him so cheap. This is why.
We could have got 2 Randys for 1, man. This is why.
I don't think I've ever told anyone that before. Yeah.
Wait, before I forget, hello, Dashi.
Hello, Dashi.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh,
always the one to do that, man.
Yeah. I gotta bring Dashi to like a 10-cent party when it reaches 10 cents or something like that, so everyone can say hello.
That would be dope. So okay, somebody who I think it was Brandon Z. Brandon Z in the chat asked about Pokemon, because I know you are obviously a big collector, or was a big collector of Pokemon, and you moved a lot of the collection. So how did that all start?
I actually saw this it came up on Facebook Memories the other day, where randomly one Saturday morning, instead of doing what I normally did, which I forget what it was, but I remember turning on WB11, and they had Pokemon on. I forget what episode it was. Might have been like the Bye Bye Butterfree episode or whatever. But I thought like, this is really good. This is really cool. I just remember thinking, just like eating like my whatever cereal I was that day. I was like, this is good. And ever since then, I always remember to wake up at that time. And then I found out that reruns would play, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So it started from there, random Saturday morning. And then my friend David had Pokemon Blue, so I got Pokemon Blue, and then my aunt got me Pokemon Red for Christmas, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, it was just, yeah, I was enthralled. I could not turn it off. It was
That's awesome. That's awesome. So did you right away from the very beginning, were you like, I need to hold on to these, I'm gonna, save them, or no?
From the cards, not because I thought that they would be valuable. I was like 8 or 9 or something like that, but just because they were cool. And whenever I remember my first card, I don't know what the rare was. I think it was like a last or a trainer. It wasn't anything like cool. It wasn't a holo, but I remember getting Charmeleon. I remember getting Rattata and Charmeleon, and I was like, whoa, this is Charmeleon. This is like a really good Pokemon. But they weren't like first editions or anything. I didn't really get into like spending lots of money until much later in life. But there's this one episode of Everybody Loves Raymond where they basically do a Pokemon episode where like, oh, the kids are in this new monster game or whatever, and Allie wants this new monster called whatever it's called, and Ray's like, oh, she wants a card, I'll get her a card. And then he finds out it's like, it's $100 a card, like what? So he goes to Allie, he's like, listen, Allie, I can get it for you, but is this why you wanted the card? Because you heard it was worth $100? And she said, no, I wanted him because I love him. And I was like, I'm so glad the writers got the kids' point of view where they like things because they love them.
Right.
And I remember everyone saying, this is just a fad, this is gonna pass. And I was like, this is different. Because I liked other stuff, like I like dinosaurs and I like cars, but I was like, this was different. It enthralled every aspect of me. And
well, we have Garbage Pail Kids to blame for that. You know what I'm saying?
Beanie Babies and all that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? What movies what movies were you into when you were growing up?
So I remember I have an older cousin who was not like terrible. He's like 4 years older, but I was like 7 and he was 11. So he was like into like a little more like mature stuff than I was. And I remember him talking with his friend about the movie It, or the miniseries It, but they, with John Ritter. And I heard him talking about it. I was like, I want to get it. So I was like 7 years old. I mean, my parents were going to Blockbuster, and I don't know if I actually got away with this or if my parents were trying to like teach me a lesson, but it had R on it. But so I took my finger and I put it over the R. I was like, hey, can I get this movie? It's about a clown. It's got John Ritter in it. It's supposed to be like really funny. And like, I've never heard of it. It's like, well, it's got John Ritter. He's funny because I knew that he was someone that older people liked and found comedic. So then my mom's like, yeah, okay. And I watched it and I was so scared poopless for like weeks. It was, I still don't like clowns. Right. So, but other movies outside of that, I think I like animal. I like 101 Dalmatians. I like Homeward Bound. I like it I like a bunch of animal movies because I like animals. So.
Very dope. Biscuits in the chat. Biscuits in the chat. Nice to see you here. She's laughing. So what about, I know obviously you mentioned Pokemon and whatnot. Were there any other cartoons that you liked when you were growing up?
Scooby-Doo was so good. A pup named Scooby-Doo. I was like, whoa, this is great. So yeah, I spent a lot of time at my grandma's when I was younger. So when I was super young, I'd be watching like PBS, Thomas the Tank Engine. They were entertaining and I was okay. But then I got into cartoons. I was like, oh, this is different. This is a crazy one. So yeah, Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo. You know, my parents they had cable, so I found you know, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. All the Hanna-Barbera stuff like Smurfs and Jetsons. It was just I didn't really do much all day, so I got caught up with like 40 years or 30 years worth of TV, starting from like the Brady Bunch and Hanna-Barbera and all that, and um, other cartoons. Yeah, like so I remember one day they had a Sylvester versus Tweety Bird, like they had like a large cookout or whatever, and they were playing a bunch of the episodes and like who's gonna win in these series of fights. And I'm like, yeah, come on, Sylvester. But then Tweety Bird wound up winning. I was like, oh.
So, all right. So, what about? And by the way, in the chat, if you want me to ask any questions, and I did see the recur question, but I want to save that question. By the way, so feel free to ask whatever you want in the chat. Link in the chat that's pinned is to Randy's YouTube channel. So, if for whatever reason you have not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe, and hurry back because you're gonna miss like probably the most important part of this whole interview. So what about video games?
Okay. So I forget his name, is my dad's friend from work. I think it's like Gino or something. He had an old Nintendo, like a NES, and he just gave it to him,
Wow.
like for me. And I was like, oh my God, God bless that dude. Because I got Duck Hunt, I got Super Mario, so that's where I guess that's where it kicked in. And I got so good at Mario. I got pretty good at Duck Hunt, but I was really good at Mario, the original. I got really good at this pinball game also, because when I had like 3 games, like okay, well I'll play pinball, and I got so good at that. And then when the NES, the classic came out, the mini a few years ago, my friend Mark that I was living with, his daughter Lauren got one, and we were testing out all these. It was like jailbroken. We got like you know, a bunch of games, and I was like, oh my God, pinball. So I was like, really, have all these games are playing pinball? I was like, girl, you don't know. So it took me back like 20 plus years. So those, and then Game Boy, it was mostly Pokemon games for Game Boy.
So is that the Triforce tattoo on your arm?
Yes, I got. So there hasn't been a heat delivery for a few days, so I am very cold. But yeah, I got Triforce, I got Mario, Paper Mario, I got Yoshi, I got Kirby, I got Star Fox Over Yonder. And
that was a freaking awesome game.
Right, so good.
Oh my God, I was so addicted to that game.
I don't think I can. I can't get it up. I have Donkey Kong throwing a Pokeball up here. That's a bigger one.
That's awesome. I knew, I was like, that's the Triforce. I know. So obviously you played Zelda.
Yeah, I had Majora's Mask, and I had Ocarina of Time, and then I had the Game Boy one, but I never finished the Game Boy one. I forget which one that was. Might have been I forget whichever one it was. I just wasn't good at it. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I loved all those games. You know, Zelda and just Nintendo when it came out it's so special. It was huge. Yeah. Star Fox, obviously, that was super good. Strange. Yeah. What was I'm just curious. You know, we're talking about video games. What was your favorite NES game?
NES.
Nintendo, yeah, Nintendo game.
Man, that's a hard one, bro. I'd like, because it's like I was there from the beginning, you know what I mean? I was playing video games before it. So it's like when it came out, I saw that first wave, you know, me and all the kids in the neighborhood during Christmas. Is like, if you didn't have Metroid, then all right, go down the block, somebody had Double Dribble. All right, cool, you got that. So it was like I was playing that. I mean, Castlevania, Ghosts and Goblins. I mean, it was Tyson's Punch Out. Like, it's too much. Kid Icarus. I played them all. I played the little games nobody thought about to the big games. Like, I had people in my neighborhood that would literally come to everyone's house every day. This one kid named Brian Babs. You know, he would have doubles and triples of games, bro. He'll come through. Like, if he heard you got Double Dragon just came out, he'll come on. He'd be like, yo, did you beat it yet? He'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, listen, I'll trade you 3 games. One game, one double J. You like, damn, like the game's been out, but I ain't play them yet. I just played this. All right, give me the games, man. Give me the games. Because like you get your
Double,
stack. So you
Double
play
Dragon was good.
Oh, that's
right.
great.
And it's like I was disappointed that it wasn't the arcade version, but I was still happy to have something.
Right. Help the fix. Yes.
Yeah.
So Randy, all right. So when you got started collecting, right? Your Pokemon cards, that was the first thing you started collecting, right?
Yeah, when I was young. Well, yeah, maybe the cars when I was younger, like but I grew out of the cars pretty quickly. I pretty much once Pokemon came to town, and I would get $5 a week for allowance, and I would go to Tri-County, this flea market, perfect $5 a pack, and that's what I would do every week. I'd just get them, and they were great.
That's funny. Strange.
Were you around when Busy Bee was out there? Were you in Nassau County when Busy Bee was open?
I was in Nassau County. I don't know what Busy Bee. I don't know.
Yeah,
where that it was.
You know about Busy Bee, Joe? Busy Bee Flea Market. Oh man, it was on Sunrise, man.
I was just gonna ask you about like what flea markets you went to down over there, because I don't recall because I grew up in New York. I don't recall what the flea market he mentioned.
Oh, Tri-County, yeah. That was big for like jewelry, especially jewelry. That's where we go get, jewelry. Like that's the thing is like when you're in Suffolk County, there was no point in going to anywhere in Nassau because it's like I might as well drive 5 more minutes and go to Queens. I might as well go to Jamaica Ave.
Right.
Or whatever. So, it wasn't until I was a little older that I started venturing around Nassau a little more. But when I was a kid, there were no real flea markets out here in Suffolk. There was one like further out east on Sunrise. But if you wanted stuff that more was like up to date with what people in the city were wearing or doing, that's where you would need to go. So we would go to Busy Bee. So that was where it's near the mall. What mall is that?
The mall with like the Dave and Buster's in it?
It's near Green Acres Mall.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't have down there.
Oh, Green Acres. That's already almost, that's in Nassau County.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know Green Acres Mall. I just don't remember.
Sunrise. Yeah. Busy Bee flea market, man. It was yellow and red. Busy Bee.
Dang, man.
Sports cards. They had comics. Everything in there, bro. Everything. I bet you Eddie P knows. Eddie P knows. I bet you.
I'm probably. I haven't seen him in the chat yet. By the way, chat, ask away. Okay, so we'll ask that question that was asked earlier about